I've had a lot of conversations recently that have led to this deepened understanding of the difference between pain versus safety and how this affects us on this ability to stay in alignment and wholeness versus the wounds that cause some separation of self and keep us anchored into survival mode. And these things are really coming up when we're doing healing on a deep level that is reparenting of the inner child, revisiting with safety. And I just have a little bit of a different or a deeper um, feeling around this differentiation between pain versus safety that has come up in several of my sessions over the past 2 weeks. And I'll start with a little bit of a personal story on it because a lot of these sessions are starting with conversations from the lens of motherhood, of this notion and this sense of some like places where codependency or guilt and enmeshment show up in a mother's love for their child. And I should rephrase to say the ways in which we are defining the responsibility and the expression of that love and the dynamics of those relationships. So, the line, as a mother, I'm responsible for my child's safety. This line came up a few times. And this is where we ended up getting to the place of differentiating pain versus safety and what that really looks like. And I myself remember when I was pregnant with my first child, and I was probably 4 weeks away from delivery, so very pregnant. And part of this was sparked by this decision I had to make on if I would have a version because my baby was breech, and or if I would not have the version and know that the delivery would be through C-section. And I had a lot of trepidation about making that decision because I was just flooded with this concern for my baby's well-being, you know? I will do whatever is best for her, whatever is best. I just need you to tell me what's best. And in that scenario, the doctors could not and would not tell me what is best, right? They couldn't. And they said, this, we can give you all this information about the pros of this, the cons of this, the pros of this, the cons of this, the potential statistics or probabilities of these things. And like, ultimately, we cannot give you, there is no answer here about what is best. And so that was on me. And, you know, it was an overwhelming feeling to experience I think that's when it hit me in a different type of way. It became much more than about the decision to have the version. It became this flood that just washed over me of this realization of this being that I have infinite love for will experience pain here. This baby, this child that grows into an adult, this being will experience pain and sense of struggle or hardships on this life path journey that they're about to be born into. And at the time, I think I was just really overwhelmed with that and wanting to be able to completely prevent that, right? Like, I cannot tolerate that this being that I love with this grand, immeasurable reach will experience pain, and there is going to be nothing I can do to change that. It is a part of being here on the earth. And as I have mothers who have come in over the past week and had some beautiful conversations reflecting on the way that this kind of sense of responsibility and discernment on where my role is, and the retrospective look back, have I done well here? All of these things that can come when you immensely love a little being that you have such a major role and responsibility with. And this is a place that we very much see our own inner child wounds coming right up, bubbling right up to the surface, revealing themselves. And so when we use that as an inlet for EMDR of one of the situations that's on our mind around our mothering of our child, which is producing some sense of unbearable guilt or responsibility around, my child experiences pain, and questioning my role as a mom here. Have I failed them? Did I do something wrong? Right? And how do I tolerate this without it throwing my entire nervous system into this state of dysregulation and activation? Which really, when I say that, what we mean is we're in survival mode. We're in survival mode when we have our nervous system activated to that level, which is a sign that this is not just about your mothering of your child, that it may be a deeper rooted seed from your own childhood if it is throwing you into this survival skill. As All right, I just had a beautiful session with someone, so I'm just on that vibration right now, like, oh, my heart full of joy and love and all the things. I love the people that I work with. I love the people I work with. This is a different level that I have reached here, and I think it has absolutely been an invitation to my journey up that spiral staircase of healing that I like to reference to. And I've walked that absolutely in alignment to my purpose with the work that I am able to do. The more clear of a channel I'm able to be, the just different depths I see in the healing. And just the the way that everything in their lives starts to change around them and unfold in just joy filled, love filled, miraculous ways. This is really what I have referenced to in the past in regard to having seen people come in talking about different ways in which they're noticing things show up in their relationships. And I've taught therapists that I've supervised in the past, how do you go underneath the content to the process? How do you dive deeper into the roots and the patterns so that you're not circling around symptom management for these people? And so when we're doing this deeper level of healing that is so spiritually led that I could not do without the collaboration and the partnership and my journeying to get to the place where I have come more into this wholeness, into this surrender of control, and into the faith and putting my sense of my highest authority is this collaboration with spirit. Because the healing that I see happening here for people is certainly far beyond something that I could have orchestrated from the limitations of my own conscious mind space. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. It's amazing. Okay, so what were we talking about? um, Motherhood and the difference between pain versus safety, and how that feels for us when we have our own wounds around codependency that keeps us in this sense of taking too much responsibility for managing everyone's emotions, or the states of things around us. And this is what we see. So I've had a couple of moms over the past couple of weeks talking about this, and we've noticed this beautiful lens of higher perspective that is guided from spirit, where we can hold up the notion of, as a mother, I am responsible for providing my child with a sense of safety. We can hold that up as truth when we understand better that there is a big difference between pain versus safety. Because to prevent your child from experiencing pain is not your role as a mother. It is not your role. One, it's impossible. Two, even if it were possible, you would be thwarting the life path experience. You would be getting in between and trying to not let the divine path unfold for that being. There are things that we're here to experience for reasons that we may never fully be able to hold until we pass and have the unlimited perspective to be able to see all of that to a different degree. And so pain is not the same thing as safety. We're all going to experience pain. All of our babies are going to experience pain. But you can experience pain and safety somewhat at the same time, I'd say, right? And this connects back in the research that shows the intensity to which a person experiences pain is statistically significant results on whether a loved one is holding your hand or not during that moment of the painful experience. Holding, that's safety. The holding. Who's holding your hand? Who's holding your heart? Who's holding space? Who is showing up with a steady, loving, unconditional sense of just this presence? That's safety. That's safety. And as moms, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. And it doesn't always need to be in the moment, right? It doesn't need to be that the hand holding is happening directly in the moment that the pain was experienced. It matters in the aftermath. It matters in the debriefing. You know, were we pretty quickly after that able to help hold the experience and the processing and the debriefing inside of some arms and some hands of safety? This this is a transformative view of this. And right after I had literally just finished a beautiful conversation with a mom about this, and she was talking about, I saw these things coming, and I wonder if I should have done something more to try to prevent it, but I wanted my child to have the experience. And so we had a beautiful conversation around this. And after the client left, I got a cup of tea, and the little quote on my string for the tea said, "A thorn of experience is worth a wilderness of warning." And I thought, ah, gorgeous, gorgeous. I mean, what more can you ask for to validate this understanding, this reframe, right? And, just to expand on that more, when we talk about connection versus codependency, there's such a greater depth and richness inside of connection than there is in codependency. Codependency actually feels like a weight. It feels like if you're not okay, I'm not okay. If you're in pain on a 10 out of 10, then I'm in pain out of a 10 out of a 10. And that's rather unhelpful, really. If I'm in pain 10 out of 10, I'd rather have somebody else not match the exact pain frequency I'm in, but rather be able to, in their own wholeness and through connection rather than codependency, show up and hold my hand while I'm in that pain. right? Provide some safety, hold space. Yes. And this is some of the deeper work we're doing, is when we take it from what are the, like beautiful little morsels of dessert, kind of the crumbs that are clues that we can feel the sweetness of inside of our parenting with our children. Then we go like, okay, where is the actual cake? Where did these crumbs come from? And then this goes back into, let's revisit the places where we experienced pain without safety as a child, which pushed us into survival modes of overreaching and codependency, and tying ourselves to this place of an anxious attachment where we can't hold space separately without matching pain frequency of another person, and thereby accidentally missing out on the richness that is available to us and our children. There is a saying that I wrote down that came from a conversation I had with a good friend. And I just loved the phrasing of it as we were talking about the difference between attachment and then phasing through detachment, so that you can blossom into a wholeness that allows a depth of availability for these rich connections. And it was this notion of, there's a way in which you can let go, a process of letting go in a way that does not engender loss, but letting go in a way that creates a freedom and a space where we are inviting in deeper connection than we ever thought was possible for us. And this is not necessarily something we can mind over matter. It's a deep trauma that keeps you in survival modes and perpetuates these cycles of codependency. It is cellular, it's in your body, it's in your chakra centers. It is something that you need that kind of deep healing, because for as long as you are stuck in survival mode, you will be experiencing attachment. It requires a depth of healing to turn on that parasympathetic nervous system, the peace, to reach a place of safety, right? Only there is that depth of love and connection going to be available to you. And you deserve that. You deserve that. And I myself, I just recently had conversations with a couple of, my closest friends who are just anchors of love and their own source points of higher frequency light in this world, right? And I just had conversations with them recently to say, I didn't even realize, because you don't know until you know, right? I didn't even realize that I really feel like I have been, for the most part, in survival mode for my entire life until like now. Until now. And wow, what an amazing experience to live through, I'd say. And then you just add a million sprinkles of magnification to that energy, because I'm witnessing the very same journey in all of these people that I get to work with. And there's just oneness here. There's oneness here. It's amazing. With my clients, they and I are feeling that depth of connection with each other as well. It is, I've had people say to me, I feel like you're the only one in my entire life who truly respects me. And it's just like this energy that I'm channeling from source, this elevated energy is doing something alchemical, something magical that is allowing healing to happen in a way that is absolutely transformative. I'm amazed.